Hi, today I'm going to be making a video about my 2009 Honda Civic. So this is the 8th generation Honda Civic. I've owned a handful of Hondas and Acuras before, the most recent specifically being the 2013 Honda Civic Si, but I really wanted to revisit this 8th generation. So I think the styling on this 8th generation Civic, it's really aged well in the 11 years of its lifetime. The 2012 and the 2013, they look really similar to the 8th generation Civic, but overall, here in 2020, while I'm making this video, I think the car still looks great. I have the two-door. I think the lines are really nice and how the back kind of slopes. You got that very straight line here at the front. It's a really long windshield with a really steep slope. In rainy conditions, the wipers actually, one goes this way, the other one goes inwards. I don't know what that's called. You know, I was a little bit surprised that an EX-L wouldn't come with tinted windows. I did swap out these rims. I think the OEM version with all the spikes on it, I'll put a picture right here. Those are my winters. I like that it has this exhaust tip. Looks pretty nice. Do you have a rear lip spoiler back here? Nice little touch on the EX-L. And the taillights, I think they look great as well. Here's what the vehicle looks like from behind. Go ahead and pop the trunk. So back here you get 60/40 folding seats. So the 40 is on this side here. You just pull and you do have to give it quite a bit of a push. OEM Honda Civic mats, all weather in the entire vehicle, including the trunk. So it's nice that there's this pretty tall amount of walls. If you do spill something back here, it's really easy to clean up, and it nicely catches. Don't have to do too much vacuuming. Underneath here you got the spare tire, nothing too special. I was surprised that there wasn't a liner or anything up here. No handles up here. It's actually really sharp, so just go ahead and grab that. Coming over on this side, again, I think it's a really great looking car. It's not too bad as just a city commuter. Longer trips, you know, if it's just one or two people, also does the job. However, if you're hauling things or, you know, transporting a lot of boxes, if you fold the seats down, you may think that you'll have a lot of room, but you'll actually run into some issues because the opening is quite narrow, so fitting large boxes through it can be quite tricky. I'll go ahead and pop the hood here before we hop inside the vehicle. I just broke that piece of metal, or the piece of plastic that holds up the this rod here. But my engine is pretty dirty, 1.8 liter. It's great on gas. I'm averaging about, I would say, 600 kilometers per tank. When I was strictly road tripping and on the highway, that could get up to 700 or so kilometers in one tank. Coming over to the passenger side here, if you are someone that's going to be sitting at the back, I wouldn't recommend it for anyone over 6 feet tall. All you do is just release this lever here, and then the seat slides forward. So decent amount of leg room, to be honest, in the back seat here. 3 seats in the back compared to my RSX. That only had 2 seats in the back, so it's nice that you get that third option. It's pretty helpful for when you're in a crunch. You get some really nice leather seats. Even on the EX-L, you don't get any sort of tray to hold drinks or anything like that. Over here, you get a cup holder and a bit of storage space. You got 3 speakers in the back up here. And then all of these headrests do adjust. Yeah, just looking at the leg room, you know, even in the middle here, it is flat, which is a nice touch. My head does get pretty close to the top. Let me just show you here. I mean, it's fine for smaller children or small adults, but just keep that in mind. This is what it looks like. You know, not too bad. I do have the seat pretty far forward. You know, I'm not that tall, so to reach the clutch, I do have to push this up quite a bit. Don't have a storage pocket here, but you do on that side. I'll show you what it looks like. But yeah, it's not too bad. And more storage and a cup holder on this side for your passenger. So you do get some really nice bucket seats on the EX-L. Really high quality leather. You see, this one has been kept in really great condition. But yeah, a little bit of creasing here on the driver's seat. However, on the passenger seat, it does look like it's in pretty great shape. So starting out from the center console, it is a pretty soft touch. It is leather. Have that latch, and this is where all my belongings are. That's where you can access the USB input and another cigarette lighter to charge your devices. I love how Honda puts this on a lot of their vehicles. You know, you can just cover up, if you do have valuables in the cup holder slots, you can kind of just cover that, or have a nice hard surface if you need to rest something, or maybe you need a surface to write a quick note. But this just slides open. I got some keys in there. Obviously I don't leave these overnight. You got heated seats in the EX-L. I like that they're actual switches and not electronic buttons like they are on a lot of newer cars. So with the buttons, you do have to turn them back on every time you start the car. Up here you got another power outlet, and then underneath that is the auxiliary. You don't have Bluetooth, whether it's phone calls or Bluetooth audio to play music. What I use is one of these things. These are just some cheap Bluetooth adapters on Amazon, and what this does is you'll essentially just plug this unit into the 3.5 millimeter where the auxiliary is up there. This little device, once you switch it on, will actually create a Bluetooth signal, and with that signal you can pair your phone. In that case you can have the ability to play music. The annoying thing is it doesn't pair automatically. You do have to switch it on and off every time you enter and exit the vehicle. I love the layout of this dash, you know, this kind of like cockpit style. Honda Civics, I've always loved how small the steering wheel is. This one is leather wrapped. Yeah, great feeling steering wheel. Even after 11 years, this has aged very well in my opinion. But at the same time, this car has been kept in very good shape. Audio controls, and then on the right side here you have your cruise control. I think Honda did a great job on the interior. Really simple stuff. It is pretty minimal. Like, it's not gonna have dual zone climate control, automatic or anything like that, but I kind of like that for, especially when you're in the city, just having switches and not fiddling around with temperatures. Yeah, just really straightforward button layout. Screen is pretty small, but I like that it is blue to match the rest of the dash, so the tachometer and the speedometer. You do have this little lever that you can press with your foot, and then it'll actually just release forward. Okay. That's what it looks like from the back. So heading over to the driver's side now, which is, I would assume, where you would spend most of the time in your vehicle. Just the fact that you have two less windows to worry about, I really like that. Pretty standard stuff though, lock and unlock. There's the action up there, and then this is a really nice large lever for your coupe style door. So just be careful if this is the first time that you're driving a two-door. These do swing out quite a bit, so just be careful not to hit cars beside you. From the driver's side, it is a really nice view. I really like how comfortable it is. That's where you have your mirror adjustment. This is the vehicle stability assist. I like that on the dash you can actually change it from miles per hour to kilometers an hour. Trip A, trip B, odometer readings, that kind of thing. And then you can control the brightness of the displays with those buttons. Yeah, Honda makes really nice interiors in my opinion. For an 11-year-old car, I feel like this has aged very well. 5-speed manual transmission. I remember the first time driving the 8th gen Civic. Honda makes great manual transmissions. Don't hate me for saying this, but I want to say that I like Mazda shifters or Mazda gearboxes a little bit more than Honda's. Yeah, I like that, you know, it is pretty subtle, and then just that pull is really satisfying. So this e-brake is the only thing that I had to get serviced. The cable was stretched out, which I think is a pretty common thing on these 8th gen Civics. I was clicking it until like 10 or 11 clicks, and it was just barely holding the vehicle even on the slightest slope. So I tried to make the adjustment, but I figured out that it was actually the cable that was stretched. Another thing that a lot of Civic owners complain about, particularly on the 8th gen, is that this visor up here does come undone quite frequently. And then another common complaint that I've heard, the paint on the roof will actually start peeling after a number of years. Luckily, that isn't apparent on this model that I have, so fingers crossed for now. It's not damped. That's not really a deal breaker for me. When you're setting up the tilt and telescope of this steering wheel, you'll really want to consider lining up the top of the wheel with where your vision will be able to see the tachometer underneath and then the speedometer on top. Here's the key. Pretty standard Honda key for that year. It does come with 2 of these, as well as a gray valet key with no buttons. I really like that blue detailing on the dash and tachometer. You have your trip A, which I always use to track how many kilometers I get in one tank. So just to kind of give you a brief update, 300 kilometers, and I haven't even used half a tank of gas. So I think we're on pace for maybe almost 600 kilometers, but I mean, I did do a lot of highway driving earlier this week. I like that there's a temperature, get trip B. I use that if I'm on a road trip just to see how many kilometers we traveled. Oil life, if you do change the oil yourself, you would have to reset this. Lots of videos and tutorials online in regards to how to do that. And then total kilometers I have on this vehicle is just under 148,000. The temperature, speedometer, and then you get the fuel gauge up there. Just holding this button here, it'll let you change the settings. Yeah, hold it for about 2 seconds and then it'll change to miles per hour. For these buttons over here, it'll actually tell you how bright you're going, and you know, it'll adjust accordingly. Even for an 11-year-old car, the heat, you know, it does this job really, really quickly. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm already getting heat. If I wanted to blast some AC, you know, it'll get cold like almost. Yeah, I feel that it is cold. So I'm really surprised the temperature and the climate control on this vehicle for its age. I'm really impressed with it.